You are breastfeeding, you are starving, but you are scared that if you eat more, you will gain weight, but if you eat less, your supply will tank. I hear this all the time. And today, I am giving you the real answer, plus actual food examples so you know exactly what eating enough looks like in real life as a busy mom. Enjoy today's episode. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey mama, welcome back to Strong and Nourished Mama. I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, strength coach, and fellow busy mom just like you. And this is a show where we talk about real nutrition, real strength, and real life as a mom without the fluff and without the BS. Whether you're brand new postpartum or years out and still figuring things out, you are in the right place. I am so happy that you're here. Before we get into it, I want to read a quick review, one that is really special to me because this one came out when I first launched the show back in November of 2024, and it has stuck with me ever since. It's from someone who means the world to me, M. Robbins1, and she wrote, "Refreshing. Such an energizing and encouraging podcast for moms, new or experienced, who are looking to build healthy habits for themselves and their families. Go ahead and follow the show, mamas. Get on your way to becoming healthier and stronger, one practical step at a time." That one hits different every time I read it. If this show has meant something to you the way it meant something to this mama, please take 60 seconds and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more mamas find the show, and it genuinely means everything to me. Okay, I have to take a moment here because I am still in awe of this community. Y'all are awesome, okay? We are officially in the top 2% of podcasts globally, okay, in the world. How freaking cool is that? We just hit 25,000 downloads. 25,000. I can't believe it. And this show is being listened to all over the world. The United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, Vietnam, Brazil, Germany, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Colombia, Argentina, and so many more countries I am still discovering every single week. And Argentina, I see you. I am recording this on a Friday, July 17th, and by the time this episode drops on a Monday, the World Cup final will have just happened the night before. Spain versus Argentina. I honestly do not know who's going to win as I am recording this on Friday before, but I'm really excited to watch the final. But I do know that whether you are celebrating or crying with your country right now, I am so glad that you are here breastfeeding nutrition content the day after the World Cup final. That is dedication, and I love you for it. And I want to give a special shout out to some of the top episodes from the last 3 months because a few of them are a perfect lead-in to today's episode, to today's topic. First, episode 87, The Truth About Breastfeeding Nutrition and Postpartum Weight Loss with Brooke Miller, has been one of the most downloaded episodes over the last 3 months. And honestly, it is the perfect companion to what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to link to that in the show notes. Also, episode 96 on gut health and the mama microbiome, episode 93 on fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum nutrition with Lily Nichols, and episode 95 on the 4 nutrient deficiencies stealing your energy as a mama. All are going to be linked in the show notes so that you can quickly get to them and listen to them. To every single one of you listening, from Albuquerque to Argentina, thank you. Genuinely, this show exists because of you, and I do not take that for granted, not even for 1 second. And I want to hear from you. At the bottom of the show notes, when you scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see a link to SpeakPipe. That is where you can send me a voice message, ask me a question, pitch me a topic, tell me what you want to hear more of on the show. I listen to every single one, and that can actually be a really great way to just tell me what you are wanting more of. Okay, now let's get into it. I want to start by telling you something that happens to me on the regular, okay? I am in a coffee shop, I'm in the grocery store, I'm in line to check out, or I'm at Target, or I'm just, out here living my life, and I overhear a mom or a group of moms, or a mom comes up to me and she says something like, "I don't know how much to eat while I am breastfeeding," or "every time I try to eat less, my supply tanks," Or I am so hungry all the damn time, but I am so scared to gain more weight. I was told that when I breastfeed, when I start breastfeeding, the weight's just gonna fly off of me. And that has not been the case. And I hear this from my clients too. It is one of the most common and most stressful nutrition questions I get from postpartum moms. And honestly, I get it because the advice out there, it's super confusing, it's conflicting, and a lot of it is just flat out wrong, to be honest. So today we are clearing all of that up. We are talking about how to eat enough to support your milk supply, fuel your body, and feel like yourself without gaining weight or tanking your supply in the process. And I am going to give you real food examples. So this is not just theory. This is something that you can actually use starting today. I'm going to start with my own experience when I was breastfeeding because I think that's going to really resonate with a lot of you. I breastfed my daughter exclusively for 13 months, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I was hungry non-stop. Like for the first 6-8 months, I was just like, give me anything. Like I want it all of the time. And I felt like I could eat anything and everything, and my body needed it. I could never get full, and I was nursing or pumping 6 to 8 times a day, and my body was working around the clock to keep up with that demand. I had a full overnight oats situation every single morning. It was easy. My daughter and I had like this little routine. So in my oats, I've talked about it before on the show, it was about 700 calories. Oats, protein powder, collagen, cocoa powder, different spices, walnuts or almonds or pumpkin seeds. And then I would do chia seed or ground flax seed. I would do half of a banana, a lot of berries, and then soy milk. And that was, like I said, about 700 calories, 50 grams of protein, a lot of fiber, I think at least 20 grams of fiber. And then I would have a second breakfast. Yes, I would have a second breakfast. And that was something smaller like eggs, toast, fruit. And I would do that most days of the week, and I needed it. I needed every single bite of it. And here is something I want to share that I think is really important. I don't own a scale. Like I didn't own a scale at that time. Right now I do, but at that time I didn't own a scale, and that was intentional. I didn't want to be focused on a number when my body was doing something incredible, feeding a human, growing and nourishing a human being outside of the womb. Like how freaking cool is that? I focused on how I felt. I focused on my energy, my supply, my strength, my sleep. And looking back, that was one of the best decisions that I made for my postpartum recovery for myself, because otherwise I would be stepping on the scale. I'd be frustrated. I'd be angry. I wasn't restricting. I was not trying to lose weight as fast as possible. I was fueling my body, and I was trying to understand how to breastfeed. That's really hard. And everything else fell into place from there. I also want to share a client story because I think it's going to sound very familiar as well. She came to me at 3.5 months postpartum. She was exclusively breastfeeding, and she was exhausted, more than just like the new mom tired. She was just really, really tired, really exhausted, running on empty. And when we looked at what she was eating, the pattern was very clear. She was not eating enough overall for what she was asking of her body at that time, and especially not earlier in the day. And that, I think, sounds familiar to a lot of moms. We've talked about this in episode 108, the feast and famine pattern. She was getting to the afternoon or the evening barely fueled, and then trying to catch up. And as a new mom with a newborn, those afternoons and evenings can be rough sometimes. And then she went back to work. So her routine changed completely. Her supply dipped. And of course, she panicked. She was like, what the heck? Why is this happening? So here's what we did. We added in a real breakfast, something easy, something she could prep ahead of time, something that she enjoyed. And we added grab and go snacks she could eat at her desk or in the car. And we focused on hydration with electrolytes because she was barely drinking water on top of everything else. Sometimes fueling as a new mom and breastfeeding, it's a full-time job. Not that it feels like one. It is one. Okay. It literally is one. And within a short time of doing it and implementing these changes that we talked about, her energy came back. She felt strong in her milk production. Her supply stabilized. We did not overhaul her entire diet either. We just filled in the gaps at the right times of the day. These simple changes, they led to real results. And that is what this episode is about. Okay, so let's get into actual content. I want to start here because I think this is where so much of the confusion comes from. You have probably heard that breastfeeding moms need an extra 500 calories a day. Maybe you've seen 700 calories thrown around, and those numbers are reasonable, especially for a good starting point. But here's the thing, breastfeeding nutrition is incredibly individual. And a one size fits all calorie number does not work for every mom in every stage of her breastfeeding journey. So, of course, it's going to change as you continue to breastfeed. So, think about it this way. If you just had your baby and you are exclusively breastfeeding, nursing or pumping 8, 10, 12 times a day on demand, your body is working incredibly hard. You need significantly more food, more fuel, more calories, more nutrients than that general guideline suggests. You need a lot because at that time in your journey, your needs are going to be at the highest. If you are 10 to 12 months in and you're breastfeeding and your baby is eating real food, nursing less frequently, and your supply is naturally tapering, your needs are starting to come down. You don't need to eat the same way you did at 6 weeks postpartum. Plus, that first month or first few months, you're recovering from birth as well. So that's additional calories that you need. If you have gone back to working out and training again, your needs are going to, of course, go back up depending on what you're doing and how much you're moving during the day and how many times you're breastfeeding. So you are now fueling both milk production and physical activity. So your intake needs need to reflect that. And if you are mixed feeding, so some breastfeeding, some formula, your needs are different again, depending on how much you are actually nursing. This is why I calculate this individually with every single client I work with who is breastfeeding and who is not breastfeeding, right? We're still going to calculate what your energy needs are. And that's going to change as a mom because your needs at 4 weeks postpartum are completely different from your needs at 12 months postpartum. 15 months postpartum, when you're almost 3 years out, right? And treating them the same is where a lot of moms are going to get into trouble. So what actually happens when you are not eating enough while you are breastfeeding? Because I want you to really understand this, especially if you are tempted to restrict calories to lose weight faster. First, your supply drops. Your body will prioritize your baby and do everything it can to maintain milk production, but it can only do that up to a certain point. When you are chronically underfueled, supply is one of the first things to take a hit. What is making up the milk in terms of calorie and nutrients, if you're not getting that through nutrition, your body is so smart, it's going to start to pull from you. But again, up to a certain point, then supply is going to dip. Second, your energy tanks. You are already sleep deprived. You are already running on less than you need. Under eating on top of that is like trying to drive a car with no gas. Make it make sense, right? Like everything is going to suffer. It's also pretty dangerous. Third, your body starts breaking down muscle for fuel. We talked about this in episode 108 as well. When you are not eating enough, your body does not just burn fat. It breaks down lean muscle, tissue as well. And that makes body composition changes even harder down the road. Fourth, your mood and your mental health are going to suffer. Underfueling postpartum is a real risk factor for postpartum mood issues, and your brain needs fuel just like your body does. And fifth, this one is really important. Restriction while breastfeeding almost always leads to rebound overeating. You white knuckle it all day trying to eat less. And then in the evening, you are so hungry, you are going to eat anything and everything in sight. We talked about the feast and the famine pattern, right? In episode 108. This is exactly how it shows up for breastfeeding moms. Now, the cruel irony is that trying to eat less to lose weight faster while breastfeeding almost always backfires completely. Your supply suffers, your energy crashes, your cravings go through the roof, and you end up in a worse place than when you started. Now, I want to also talk about and address, because I know you've seen this on Instagram or social media, I want to talk about lactation cookies or some of the things that you've seen on Instagram or TikTok to boost your supply, okay? Eat oats to boost your supply. Try brewer's yeast, lactation cookies, lactation teas, lactation brownies. Honestly, at this point, I've seen a lot of lactation everything. And here's my honest take as a dietitian. There is no strong clinical evidence that these foods dramatically boost milk supply on their own. Oats are great. I love oats. I have them a few times a week. They are whole grain. They have fiber. They are filling. They are nutritious. There's so many ways. There's so many ways that you can prepare oats, but eating oats is not going to magically fix a supply issue if the real problem is that you are not eating enough overall. And I hear this all the time, like, oh my gosh, my supply dipped. I heard just eat oats. I'm just going to eat oats. Yeah, eat oats. Oats are great. But again, it's not going to magically fix a supply issue if the real problem, the root cause of this, is that you are not eating enough overall. Now, of course, there can be multiple things that contribute to supply dropping. First and foremost, what any lactation consultant is going to tell you is that it's a supply and a demand. Okay, so the more that you demand it, the more your supply you're going to get. But nutrition, our stress, our sleep, all of that is going to play a role as well. Now, what actually supports milk supply? Eating enough calories, eating enough protein, eating enough carbohydrates and fat and fiber, getting enough water. Oh my gosh, we have to eat food. Okay, yes, let's do it. A whole foods balanced diet is the foundation, not a lactation cookie. Okay, not a lactation cookie. Now, if you enjoy lactation cookies and they are part of how you get those extra calorie and nutrients in, great. I am not here to take your cookies away. I love cookies. I have so many different recipes that I give my clients to prepare sweet treats to be able to have in that fiber, that protein. But I want you to understand that the cookie is not the fix. It's not like, oh my gosh, I got this cookie and now my supply went up. Eating enough of the right foods consistently is the fix. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about right now. So what does eating enough actually look like for a breastfeeding mom? Let's break it down by the 4 things I want every breastfeeding mom to focus on. Number 1, protein, non-negotiable. Protein builds and preserves lean muscle and skeletal muscle mass and organs and tissue and skin and bone and everything. It supports your recovery. It keeps you full, satiated, and it needs to be at every single meal and every single snack, not just at dinner. Every meal. Now, here are some easy options: eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, deli meat roll-ups, protein shakes, beef sticks, chicken thighs, salmon, ground beef, ground turkey. These are your go-to options, especially in those early weeks when you are nursing with one hand and eating with the other, okay? We need something easy. We need something that's going to give us the protein and the nutrients. When we're talking real whole foods, you're also getting other nutrients other than just the protein, okay? That's what we really want. Carbohydrates. Do not skip the carbs. I hear moms say they are going to go low carb while breastfeeding, and I want to gently but firmly tell you, please don't do this. Carbs are delicious for 1, and 2, your body needs carbohydrates for energy. Now, I'm not telling you to just go eat cake and cookies and crackers all the time. I'm telling you to integrate carbohydrates in a balanced way and a way that makes sense for your life and a way that's delicious. Your milk production needs carbohydrates. This is not the time to restrict carbs. Focus on complex carbs, oats, sweet potatoes, rice, different types and different colors of rice, couscous, whole grain bread, fruit, potatoes, different colors of potatoes, purple potatoes, red potatoes, white potatoes. These are your energy sources and your body needs them right now. And there's so many different ways to prepare that. Healthy fats. Essential. We need them, okay? Fat supports hormone production. It keeps you full and satiated. It supports brain health for both you and your baby. Do not be afraid of fat right now, okay? You also have what's called essential fatty acids, and essential means you have to obtain them from the diet and or supplementation. And when you're supplementing, the type and the amount definitely matter. When we're talking food, think avocado, nuts, so like walnuts, almonds, cashews, nut butters, seeds, seed butters, olive oil, full fat dairy, pumpkin seeds. These are your friends. Add them in different ways. Maybe you make a homemade dressing. Maybe it's a dressing that you purchase and it's made from avocado oil. Maybe it's nuts and seeds that you throw on top of your salad. Maybe you sprinkle some hemp seed and chia seed on top of some almond butter on toast with some berries. That sounds like really good right now. Oh my gosh. And those are different ways to get in some healthy fats. When it comes to animal foods, the full fat dairy is an animal food, but also think of your fatty fish like salmon. That's an easy way to get some healthy fats too. Also, fiber. Now, fiber is going to come from any plant food, not just your veggies. So you have your veggies, your fruits, your legumes, your chia seeds, your ground flax seeds, your fiber. Fiber is going to keep your blood sugar stable. It's going to support your gut health. It's going to keep you full between meals. It's going to give you that prebiotic fiber. And most moms are not getting nearly enough fiber, and it shows up as energy crashes, cravings, bloating, digestion issues, lots going on there. So we want to make sure that we're getting in enough fiber. And then of course, hydration. This one is huge and is the one that most moms are probably neglecting, and not saying that you're neglecting it on purpose. There's a lot going on and it can be so easy to forget to hydrate. My general recommendation is at least half your body weight in ounces of water per day. And for breastfeeding moms and busy and active moms, I typically recommend starting at a minimum of 80 to 100 ounces and going up from there depending on how you feel and how much you are sweating and what's going on with your body, what you're doing. You're breastfeeding, you're exercising, you live somewhere where it's hot, high altitude, you're sweating a lot. That matters. Add electrolytes, especially in the summer, especially if you are active, especially if you feel like you are drinking enough water, but you still feel thirsty or depleted or dehydrated. And drink before you are thirsty. So we want to start hydrating earlier in the day, especially if you are breastfeeding. You are constantly going to be breastfeeding your baby, right? Especially if you're doing it on demand or if you're doing it every 2 to 3 hours. We want to make sure that we're hydrated and we're starting earlier in the day. By the time you feel thirsty, you're more than likely already behind. So keep a water bottle next to you wherever you nurse, wherever you pump, make it easy, and maybe use it as an excuse to buy a super cute Stanley water bottle, okay? I have like a million of them. My husband's like, can we please stop buying water bottles? No, we cannot. And my daughter's the same way. It's kind of hilarious. She's the same way. And she also says, Mom, I need my electrolytes. I need my protein. So of course, she is my daughter. Okay, so this is the part I am most excited about because I want to make this practical for you. I am going to walk you through 3 different scenarios, 3 different stages of breastfeeding, and what eating enough actually looks like in each one. Okay, scenario 1, 4 weeks postpartum, exclusively breastfeeding, home on maternity leave with your babe. This is peak demand. You are nursing or pumping probably 8 to 12 times a day. Feels like that's all you're doing. You are recovering from birth. You are sleep deprived. Your body is working harder than ever has. This is not the time to think about restriction. This is the time to eat. Here's what a full day could look like. Breakfast, overnight oats. So everything that I talked about, maybe oats, protein powder, collagen, the right collagen, that totally matters. Cocoa powder, cinnamon, walnuts, chia seed, half of a banana, berries, milk of your choice. Make it the night before so it's ready when you wake up. The bowl or the mason jar, the cup is probably close to 700 calories depending on the amounts that you're putting in. And I want you to eat every single bite without guilt because your body needs it. What's cool about overnight oats, there's probably like a million different recipes. So you can make different flavors. You can make it super fun and seasonal as well. Second breakfast, yes, there is a second breakfast. Scrambled eggs, a piece of toast, some fruit. Eat it. You are breastfeeding. You're allowed to eat it and enjoy it, okay? Lunch, maybe it's leftovers from dinner the night before, spaghetti and meatballs, salmon with couscous and veggies, chicken thighs with a salad and potatoes, real food, filling food, not diet food. Now, if you're thinking, Val, oh my gosh, like I don't have the time to prepare all this food that you're talking about, maybe it's a time to rely on a meal delivery service so that you can pull it out of the freezer or quickly heat it up. So that's something to think about as well. Afternoon snack could be Greek yogurt with berries or almond butter with an apple, something with protein and carbs to carry you to dinner. And then dinner, of course, can be a balanced meal, a protein, a starch, a vegetable, something simple, nourishing. It's the same energy as lunch. Chicken and rice and roasted veggies, salmon and potatoes, whatever you have, make it easier on yourself. And then if you need to, depending on how you're feeling and how much you're breastfeeding and your activity, evening snack can also be helpful. Maybe it's a beef stick with cheese and crackers. Maybe it's another yogurt, a handful of nuts, something, okay? So we definitely don't want to go to bed underfueled. We don't want to go to bed hungry. Now, scenario 2 is you're 10 months postpartum. You're breastfeeding plus baby is eating real food. Your baby is eating more solid food now at this stage. Your nursing sessions are naturally decreasing. Your supply is starting to taper. Your calorie needs are still elevated, but they're starting to come down naturally. Maybe you start exercising more. This is also a time where a lot of moms start to think about their body composition again, and that's totally okay. But the answer still is not restriction. The answer is protein and progressive strength training. So go back and listen to episode 108. Here's what a day looks like in this scenario. Breakfast, it's still a solid filling breakfast. So you can keep the overnight oats, or maybe you do the eggs and toast or a protein smoothie. So don't skip breakfast. Your morning snack, it's still a good idea depending on your movement. Greek yogurt, a protein shake, a beef stick with cheese. Keep the protein coming, and of course keep it balanced as well. Lunch, protein plus starch plus veggies. So this really can be anything when you have that foundation. A salmon bowl, chicken and rice, leftover dinner, same principles as scenario one, just maybe slightly less total volume as your hunger naturally adjusts. Afternoon snack, maybe it's a rice cake with peanut butter and berries on top. Maybe it's cottage cheese with fruit, a handful of nuts and a piece of fruit, something like that. Dinner, balanced plate again. Protein, veggies, starch. Keep it simple. We don't want to overcomplicate it. Now, your evening snack is going to be optional here. So listen to your body. If you are hungry, eat something. If you are not, you don't have to force it either. Now, scenario 3, you're 12 months postpartum, breastfeeding less frequently. So you are nursing maybe 2 or 3 times a day now. Your supply has naturally tapered. Your hunger cues are changing, and you might notice you are not as ravenously hungry as you were in those early months. This is a transition period, and it can feel confusing. A lot of moms make the mistake of dramatically restricting here, thinking since they are nursing significantly less that they should eat way less. But your needs are still elevated, and your body is still adjusting. So here's what this day may look like. You have your breakfast, okay? You still have protein with some sort of veggies or plant foods. So it could be, maybe it's the egg option that I talked about. Maybe it's the overnight oats option or baked oats. Maybe it's a Greek yogurt parfait. So we don't want to skip breakfast. Lunch, we still have that balanced meal with a protein focus, keeping the good habits that you've already built. Maybe you have an afternoon snack, so it's one solid snack. Maybe it's a morning snack instead of an afternoon snack. You probably don't need as many snacks as you did early in postpartum, but you don't want to skip them entirely. You still want to have those options available. And then dinner again is going to be that balanced plate with protein, veggies, and starch, a carbohydrate. Again, that evening snack is going to be optional. So listen to your hunger. If you keep finding that you're really hungry towards the end of the day, we want to look earlier in the day and make sure that you are eating enough. Your body will tell you what you need if we pay attention. And of course, if you're working with me one-on-one, we'll dive through that and really dissect it to make sure, okay, the morning looks great. Let's have a snack in the evening. Or, hey, you know what? The morning probably could use a little bit more based on what you're telling me. Now, the big message for this stage, do not slash your calories dramatically just because you are nursing less. We want to transition it slowly. Okay, let your hunger guide you, keep the protein high, and if you are starting to add more intentional exercise back in, especially increasing the intensity, then your needs are probably going to go up. All right, let's address the question that is probably in the back of a lot of your minds right now. Can you lose weight while breastfeeding? Yes, you can, but here is how it actually works. Aggressive restriction while breastfeeding leads to supply drops, muscle loss, and rebound hunger. We already covered this. It almost always backfires. What actually works is a small, sustainable approach combined with high protein intake for you and progressive strength training when you are ready for it. That combination allows your body to recompose, to lose fat, to preserve and build lean muscle without tanking your supply or your energy. And it's totally possible. I'm sure you've seen on social media and in the media where these moms, they just had their baby, they're maybe 10 months postpartum, they're still breastfeeding, and they are going to do Ironmans, or they're going to do a High Rocks, and they're breastfeeding their baby between events. That's possible. Those moms are fueling themselves adequately for what they're asking of their body. If they weren't, then they probably wouldn't be able to sustain both the exercise intensity that they were doing plus the breastfeeding. Now, here is something I want you to hear. Some moms hold on to weight until they stop breastfeeding entirely. This is hormonal. This is normal. Your body is doing that on purpose, holding onto fuel reserves to support milk production. It does not mean you are doing anything wrong. It means your body is working exactly as it should. So instead of focusing only on the scale, focus on how you feel. Focus on your energy, your supply. How does it change when you do this versus that? Your strength, your mood. These are the real metrics that matter right now. Collect that data, get some information. The scale is going to be one data point. It's not going to be the whole picture. And when in doubt, eat more, not less, okay? But make sure it's evenly balanced throughout the day. We don't want to just eat all in one sitting, right? Or at the end of the day. Before I let you go, I want to make sure you have something practical to take with you from today's episode. If you are a breastfeeding mom and you are constantly wondering if you are eating enough protein, or if you just want a simple guide with what to eat, how much, and easy options for busy moms, I have a free protein guide that was made exactly for this. It covers protein needs, easy high protein options, how to get protein in when you are feeding a baby with one hand and have approximately 0 time, all of it. And it is completely free. Head to wellnessbyval.com/protein snack guide to grab it, or head to the show notes to get the link. Okay, mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode 109 of the podcast. If this episode helped you feel less confused and more confident about how to fuel your body while breastfeeding, share it with another breastfeeding mama who needs to hear it. I promise she is in your circle. She is stressed about her supply, she is exhausted, and she does not know how much to eat. Send her this episode. All right, mama, stay strong, stay nourished, and I will see you next Monday for another episode. Talk soon. Hey mama, I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me, and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around. Stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.